Welcome to Jazz Vespers here at St. Andrews-Wesley United Church, where we believe that jazz and the spirit can dance together and something new can emerge from that interaction. We here are an open-minded, open-hearted community that is LGBTQ affirming, and we seek to follow in the pathway of Jesus to engage in the further work of peace and justice in the world. So whoever you are, whomever you love, whatever faith path that you're on, wherever you are in that faith journey, know that you are welcome here. We gather here to work and play and to worship and to hear music on the unceded territory of the Coast Salish people, the Musqueam, the Squamish, and the Tsleil-Waututh, and we commit ourselves always to the ongoing work of reconciliation. Today we have a wonderful treat in store with Chris and Karin, who will be singing and playing up a storm. You will know these musicians well from all the work that they have done in Vancouver as vocalists, as composers, as musicians and pianists. Do check out their Facebook or website so that you will see more of what they've been doing and maybe even catch a glimpse of what the future might hold. Now, one of the things that's special about today is that for the last several years, Karin PLato has always been our featured vocalist for Mother's Day. I don't know how many years that's been happening for, but it's been long enough that it's become a tradition. However, we're in the midst of a pandemic, and we only do Jazz Vespers on the first Sunday of the month. So what you will experience now, today, for May 2nd, is a pre-Mother's Day service that'll allow you to get in the mood to remind you about the flowers, the chocolates, the card, whatever it is you need to get. And remember, it will be uploaded onto YouTube so that next Sunday, on the real day, you will be able to watch Jazz Vespers with your mother because you can't take her out for lunch. So this is a rich possibility, and we are delighted that Karin and Chris are with us now. So I'd Do Anything for You is the title of their opening song, and as you hear it and the romance of it all, I want you to imagine how it would sound if this were your mother singing to you. I would do anything for you. Listen carefully.
I want to be. I would swim the ocean wide. I would cross the great divide. I would do anything for you. I would take a trip to Mars. I would even count the stars. I would do anything for you. I'd gladly pay a fortune just to see you smile, to hear you say I love you every little while. In my heart there's ecstasy. As long as you have faith in me, I would do anything for you. I would swim the ocean wide. I would cross the great divide. I would do anything for you. I would take a trip to Mars. I would even count the stars. I would do anything for you. I'd gladly pay a fortune just to see you smile, to hear you say I love you every little while. In my heart there's ecstasy. As long as you have faith in me, I would do anything for you, for you, for you, for you. I would swim the ocean wide. I would cross the great divide. I would do anything for you. I would take a trip to Mars. I would even count the stars. I would do anything for you. I gladly pay a fortune just to see you smile, to hear you say I love you every little while. In my heart there's ecstasy. As long as you have faith in me, I would do anything for you, anything for you, anything for you.
I'd do anything for you. Isn't that perhaps the basic cry of mother to child? The poet Sylvia Plath, on the birth of her first child, said, "It felt as if my heart put on a face and went walking in the world." So deep and connected is that mother-child bond. A willingness to spend time, hugs, touch, food, laughter, wisdom. Mothers. My mom died 8 years ago, and I still miss her. Now, I know that every family has its moments of dysfunction, and some families have more than others. I remember that saying that God gave us families so that we would fight not with strangers, but with people we know. But I'd like to reshape that adage and say, I think God gave us families in order to teach us how to love. Because we are yearning to receive love and to give love. And what better place to begin an experiment and find pros and cons within our families? The poet Raymond Carver, in his last published poem, last book, last page, last poem, called Late Fragment. It's a very short but poignant poem, and it begins, "And did you get what you wanted from this life? Even so, I did. And what was it that you wanted? To call myself beloved, to feel myself beloved on this earth." And that's it. And yet I think he has caught and is sharing this deepest truth of what it means to be human. We yearn to be loved. And I am part of a tradition of faith that says, to be ultimately grounded, that love needs to come from the holy mystery, the loving presence, the greater power, God, however you might name this something, this someone that really roots you in, that knows that you belong. I remember a passage from the prophet Isaiah where God says to the people, "Oh, I have formed you and shaped you. Do not be afraid, for I have redeemed you. I have called you by name, and you are mine. And when you go through the rivers, the waters, the fires, the flames, you shall not be drowned, you shall not be consumed, for I am your God, the Holy One of Israel, your Savior, and you are precious in my sight. And I honor you, and I love you." That's at that very root. And so we open ourselves to that love that so often comes through to us, through people, and through this incredible world around us. And when we feel that love rooted and grounded and rising up, almost as if we are filled to the brim with love, it begins to spill over. And part of our human journey is to learn how to love others. And we experiment, as I said, in family and with friends and with new shapes of family and with companions in community. And then we come into some of the more difficult times. We are asked even by Jesus to think about what it means to love strangers or the person who's hurting who just simply arrives and shows up. And even if we can stretch far enough to discover what it means to love our enemies, to forgive, to look for reconciliation and for healing. That is the journey that we are on. In fact, I find myself wanting to use the imagery, the language of John Coltrane, who talks about God as a love supreme. And 1 John, one of the letters in the New Testament, says, God is love, and whoever abides in love abides in God, and God abides in that person. It's love from both the Holy One and in our surroundings and with the people we know. That's how we are called, that's how we are nourished, and that is perhaps ultimately at its base what Mother's Day is all about. So move into this next song, another romantic ballad, Do I Love You, but hear that as God's proclamation of you bet I love you, however you conceive and understand the Holy One to be for you and in your life. And understand also that this is a question being asked of you. Do you love me? Do I love you? And our journey's end is to bring that to fruition and wholeness. Yes, you know that I do.
Do I love you? Does the grass grow? Does a breeze blow? Does a stream flow? If they do, and you know they do, then I love you. Is my heart true? Is a star bright? Is the sky light? Is the snow white? If they are, and you know they are, my love is true. But even if the grass didn't grow, and even if the star didn't shine, I wouldn't mind the rain or the snow if you were mine. Do I need you? Does a flame burn? Does the world turn? Does my heart yearn? If they do, and you know they do, then I need you. But even if the grass didn't grow, and even if a star didn't shine, I wouldn't mind the rain or the snow if you were mine. Do I need you? Does a flame burn? Does the world turn? Does my heart yearn? If they do, and you know they do, then I need you.
So one of our Mother's Day traditions, or our pre-Mother's Day service tradition, is to have Karin sing. But another, well, it's maybe too strong to call it a tradition, but another habit that I have is always on Mother's Day to lift up metaphors of God as our mother. We know that God isn't a person, but we are so familiar with our Father who art in heaven and all the various ways that that gets named and used that we sometimes forget that it is simply a metaphor, and we could just as easily use mother. And why not on such a day as this? And actually, it's very biblical. Some of the prophets, like Isaiah and Hosea, they have a plethora of imagery of God as mother. Could a woman ever forget the babe nursing at her breast? Could she not have compassion for the child of her womb? Yet even if these forget, I, the Holy One, will never forget you. It was I who taught Ephraim to walk, and I held them in my arms, even though they did not know that it was I who healed them. I guided them with cords of human kindness and bands of love. I was like for them someone who would pick up the infant and hold that infant against my cheek and then bend down low and feed them. Oh, as a mother comforts her child, so I, the Holy One, I also will comfort you. So, do I love you? You bet I love you. And I would love to share with you a story by Robert Munch called Love You Forever. It's about mothers, and in this case, a son. But I also want you to think of God as your mother and imagine what it might be like to feel, to experience, to be in touch with and touched by this kind of love that is all-encompassing and holds you always. So Robert Munch writes, a mother picked up her newborn baby and gently rocked him back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And while she rocked him, she sang this song, I will love you forever, I will like you for always. As long as I live, my baby you'll be. Well, that little baby grew. And he grew and he grew and he grew and he grew until he was 2 years old and running around the house. He pulled all the books off the shelves. He hauled all the food out of the refrigerator. And he took his mother's watch and he flushed it down the toilet. And sometimes that mother said, this kid is driving me crazy. But at night, when that 2-year-old was quiet, she would carefully open his bedroom door, crawl across the floor, and look up over the side of his bed. And if he was truly asleep, she would take that 2-year-old in her arms and she would rock him back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, singing, I'll love you forever, I'll like you for always. As long as I live, my baby you'll be. And that 2-year-old grew. And he grew, and he grew, and he grew until he was 9 years old. And he never wanted to come in for dinner. And he never wanted to have a bath. And when Grandma came to visit, he always used bad words. And that mother sometimes said, I think I'd like to sell him to the zoo. But in the evening, when it was quiet, she would open her 9-year-old's bedroom door, crawl across the floor and look up over the edge of the bed. And if he was asleep, she would take him in her arms and she would rock him back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, singing, I'll love you forever, I'll like you for always. As long as I'm living, my baby you'll be. That 9-year-old, he grew. And he grew and he grew and he grew and he grew until he was a teenager. And he wore strange clothes, and he had strange friends, and they listened to strange music, and sometimes that mother thought that she was living in the zoo. But when the evening came and it was quiet, she would carefully open up her son's door and she would crawl across the floor and then look over the edge of the bed. And if that great big teenager was sound asleep, she'd take him in her arms and rock him back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. I'll love you forever, I'll like you for always. As long as I'm living, my baby you'll be. Now that teenager grew. He grew and he grew and he grew until he was a grown-up man, and he left home and found a house across the city. But sometimes, late at night, that mother would get into her car and she would drive across town. And if all the lights in her son's house were out, she would take her ladder, put it up against the side of the house, and up she'd go. She'd open his bedroom window, crawl carefully and quietly across the floor, and then look up over the edge of his bed. And if that great man was sound asleep, she would gently take him into her arms and rock him back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, singing, I'll love you forever, I'll like you for always. As long as I live, my baby you'll be. Well, that mother grew older. She grew older and older and older until one day she phoned her son and said, you'd better come and visit me. I'm old and I'm sick. And so her son came right away. And as he walked through her bedroom door, she began to sing her song, I'll love you forever, I'll like you for always. But she couldn't finish because she was so old and so sick. And her son crossed over to his mother, and he took her gently in his arms, and he began to rock her back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And he sang this song, I'll love you forever, I'll like you for always. As long as I'm living, my mummy you'll be. When the son got home that night, he spent a long time at the top of the stairs, pondering. And then he opened the door to the room where his very new baby daughter was sleeping, and he took her in his arms, and he rocked her gently back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And while he was rocking, he sang, I'll love you forever, I'll like you for always. As long as I'm living, my baby you'll be. So much love. It is, in fact, a wonderful world. Karin, Chris, here we go.
I see trees of green, red roses too. I see them blue for me and for you. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I see skies of blue and clouds of white, the bright, blessed day and the dark, sacred night. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Va-da-da-da-da, va-da-da-day, va-da-da-day. The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are all so smile on the faces of people passing by, and I see friends shaking hands, saying, "How do you do?" They're really saying, "I love you." I love you. I love you. Ba-da-da-da, ba-da-da-day, ba-da-da-day. I hear babies cry, and I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than I will ever know. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. What a wonderful world. What a wonderful world.
It is indeed a wonderful world, and thank you, Chris and Karin, because when we recognize the wonder of the world, it fills us with a gratitude for life itself, and out of gratitude comes the yearning for generosity, our ability to give love, to give of ourselves, to give tangibly in financial ways. Given that you may not be taking Mother out to a restaurant lunch this year, this might be the occasion to make a special donation to organizations in our community that work for women. I'm thinking of the Downtown Eastside Women's Center, or what about the YWCA, or the BC Society for Transition Houses. Oh, you might also want to make a donation to St. Andrews-Wesley so that we can keep having the music rolling and that jazz and the spirit can continue to dance together. You know the routine. There are a whole variety of ways to donate to St. Andrews-Wesley, all the way from going onto the website with PushPay. You can text, you can use the various codes, and just find a way to give if you feel so inclined. Friends, this is coming close to the end of our time together, and I am reminded that in a couple of months, the end of June, I will be formally retiring. So I want to say to each and every one of us, remember, friends, that life is short, and we do not have much time to gladden the hearts of those we travel with. So be swift to love, and make haste to be kind. The hand of God to hold you, the grace of God enfold you, for the love that dreams and forms us still surrounds us here today. The light of God be with you, beside, above, and within you, the light that shines to guide all of us home to the loving heart of God. We move now into our final song, Calico Skies by Paul McCartney. It is said that, in fact, the first verse at least, and maybe the whole song, is a reflection on the love that he received from his mother. Other people say no, it is the love that he has experienced with his partner, Linda. And some of us say, no, it even goes larger than that. And I'm inviting you to think of the Robert Munch story, I Love You Forever, and his depiction of mother. I invite you to think of the God that says, when you abide in love, you are abiding in me. Let's just enjoy and savor Calico Skies by Paul McCartney.
It was written that I would love you from the moment I opened my eyes, and the morning when I first saw you gave me life under calico skies. I will hold you for as long as you like. I'll hold you for the rest of my life. Always looking for ways to love you, never failing to fight by your side, while the angels of love protect us from the innermost secrets we hide. I will hold you for as long as you like. I'll hold you for the rest of my life. I'll hold you for as long as you like. I'll hold you for the rest of my life. Long live all of us crazy soldiers who were born under calico skies. May we never be called to handle all the weapons